Michael Thorne's wedding video showed the moment it happened, though he didn't notice until 3 days later, after watching it 56 times. In the frame where Diana tossed her bouquet, her smile flickered, just for a second, into something else. Something old. The roses in her hands had turned black, but that came later. First, there was the morning of the wedding, when Michael stood in front of his bathroom mirror, adjusting his bow tie and trying to ignore the note he'd found in his jacket pocket. The paper was yellow with age, the handwriting spidery. Check the church records. Save yourself. He'd thrown it away. After 6 months of anonymous warnings about Diana, he'd stopped reading them. People were just jealous, he told himself. Jealous that he, a middle-aged history professor with thinning hair and a tendency to ramble about medieval architecture, had somehow won the heart of a woman who looked like she'd stepped out of a Renaissance painting. Diana Vale, now Diana Thorne. Perfect in every way, except for those moments when she seemed too perfect. When her grace felt practiced, her accent slipping strangely. When she stared at old things with hungry eyes. But the wedding was beautiful. Everyone said so. Even as storm clouds gathered outside the Gothic revival church, Diana had insisted on. Even as the candles flickered in non-existent wind, even as his mother whispered, "Something's wrong with her eyes, Michael." The ceremony went perfectly. Diana's vows sounded ancient, poetic in a way that made the air feel thick. The ring slid onto her finger like it had always belonged there, though Michael could have sworn it had been too small at the jeweler's. At the reception, she danced like a dream. Literally, her feet never seemed to quite touch the ground. She didn't eat, but no one noticed except Michael. She never ate. Another detail he'd learned to ignore. "You're the lucky one," his best man slurred later, gripping his shoulder too tight. But didn't she look exactly like that portrait in the church basement? The one from 1847. Same face, same smile, same... He stopped, blinking. What was I saying? Michael had never seen any portrait. The storm broke as they drove to the hotel. Lightning split the sky, and in its flash, Diana's reflection in the passenger window showed something else. Something that made Michael's hands shake on the wheel. But when they reached the honeymoon suite, she was perfect again. Beautiful. His. "I need a moment to freshen up," she said, disappearing into the bathroom with her white dress whispering across the carpet. Michael sat on the bed, loosening his tie. The mirror across the room showed him alone, rumpled and ordinary, middle-aged, mortal. 10 minutes passed, then 30. "Diana?" The bathroom door swung open at his touch, empty. But the mirror held a reflection. Diana in her wedding dress, young and beautiful. The same face he'd fallen in love with 6 months ago. The same face that had hung in a church basement portrait since 1847. She smiled at him through the glass. Behind her, other brides waited in an endless line, all wearing his ring, all wearing his name, all wearing faces that had stopped aging centuries ago. "Your turn," she whispered from inside the mirror. "Come join the collection." The bathroom door swung shut. The mirror cracked. And somewhere in the storm, a church bell tolled for a wedding that had happened many times before and would happen many times again. In the morning, they found only Michael's bow tie, carefully folded on the bathroom floor. And in his jacket pocket, a fresh note in spidery handwriting, "Welcome to the family."